Good evening and welcome to the Kalihi Valley Neighborhood Board number 16 meeting. Today is Wednesday, November 13, 2024, and it is now 7:01 p.m. Rules of speaking. Anyone wishing to speak is asked to click the raised hand icon or raise your hand in person, and when recognized by the chair, to address comments to the chair. Speakers are encouraged to keep their comments under 2 minutes, and those giving reports are encouraged to keep their reports under 3 minutes. Please ensure your microphone is muted unless you are speaking. Please state your first and last name for the record before moving into your comments or questions. People in person can sit on this chair. Maybe we can move it forward.
Yeah, I can move the camera.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move the camera, but you can sit on this grand fancy chair for anyone in person who wants to speak. And again, please silence all your electronic devices. Written testimony may also be submitted via email using the contact information listed on the Neighborhood Commission Office website. Note, the board may take action on any agenda item as required by the State Sunshine Law or Revised Statute Chapter 92. Specific issues not listed on this agenda cannot be voted on unless properly added to the agenda. Archive materials can be found at our Kalihi Valley Google Drive link. Meeting recordings can be found on YouTube in the City and County Neighborhood Commission Office YouTube page. But first on the agenda is City Monthly Report, Honolulu Fire Department.
So over there?
Yeah. I'll sit on the...
There's this cord. You can come this way. Just gotta watch.
Well, look at it. Yeah.
You feel like a
Good evening. Clay Madrona, captain at the Kalihi Fire Station on Camford Road. I have the statistics. I need my glasses. For the month of October. So for fires, we've had, for the month of October, we have 1 rubbish fire and 1 activated alarm, no fire. For emergencies, we had 63 medical emergencies and 2 motor vehicle crashes. Our safety tip for the month of October or November is cooking and kitchen safety. So cooking is the leading cause of home fires. Protect yourself, your family, and your neighborhood by practicing these preventative tips. For more information and resources, visit fire.honolulu.gov. First, stay in the kitchen while you are cooking. Do not leave cooking unattended. If you must leave the kitchen, turn off the stove. Keep items such as oven mitts, wooden utensils, towels, etc. away from the stovetop, even when the stove is off. Never store items on top of the stove or cooktop and inside the oven. Keep a lid nearby to smother small grease fires. Smother the fire by sliding a lid over the pan and turning off the stove. Only plug one heat-producing appliance, such as a coffee maker, toaster, etc., into an outlet at a time. Create a 3-foot child and pet-free zone around the cooking area. That's it. Any questions?
Any questions from the board online or in person? Are we unmuted by any chance? Just want to be sure.
Yeah. Can you guys hear us online?
And if not from the board, any questions from the community online or in person? Online or in person? Oh, Mr. Rojas, you have a question?
If you were to do an emo pit, do you need a permit for that?
You don't need a permit. You just have to notify our dispatch.
Just notify the dispatch?
Yeah. The number is 723-3473. And just let them know where you're having it and what time.
So meaning like a permanent emo pit?
Permanent one?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Once you light the fire, they gotta be notified, otherwise the truck gonna come to you.
Got it, okay. All right. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Are there any more questions online or in person? And if not, I just want to thank you. Thank you and have a good evening and see you in the new year.
Thank you. You won't see me, but you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Someone else. Have a good
Thank you.
weekend and holidays. Thank you. Up next on the agenda is Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening, Lieutenant Sean Yamashita from District 5 Kalihi. Also have logged on is Sergeant Martinez from the Administrative and Community Policing Team. I'm going to go over the statistics for the month of October. So for the month of October, we had 3 aggravated assaults, 0 auto thefts, 3 burglaries, 0 robberies, 3 sex assaults, 5 simple assaults, 2 thefts, and 1 authorized entry into a motor vehicle. Total calls for service was 550. I'm going to touch up on this sex assaults that we had, the 3 of them that we did have that were reported. So one of the sex assaults that was reported actually didn't occur in our area, but it was reported in our area. It occurred in another sector. It was a female who caught a taxi home, and she felt like she was inappropriately touched when she was dropped off by the taxi driver. So she made a report. The suspect is still outstanding, but the case is assigned to a sex crimes detective. The second sex assault that we did have was a female. Oh, I'm sorry. It was a male and another roommate of his. He felt like the roommate was acting out inappropriately while unclothed, and he went ahead and made a report with a sex crime with us, and the case is also assigned to a sex crimes detective. And then lastly, we had a juvenile victim that was sexually assaulted by her relative. The suspect was later located, positively identified, and placed under arrest. Another thing I wanted to add, we have a Coffee with a Cop coming up on December 6th, which is a Friday. It's going to be at the Salt Lake Shopping Center, located at 848 Alalili Street. And the event will be held from 9 a.m. to 11 o'clock. And the safety tip for the month is, I believe, with the holiday season coming up, please make sure if you guys are going shopping to lock your guys' valuables. Don't leave any valuables exposed in your guys' cars for thieves to see, to break into. With the holiday season up, we have a lot of shopping going on. So just be aware. Try and be diligent about that. And I'll turn it over to see if Sergeant Martinez has anything for you guys.
Sergeant Martinez. Oh, there you
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find my unmute button. So I'm part of the community policing team. I just wanted to expand a little about Coffee with the Cop. If you can make it out, it's a really good opportunity to sit and speak to the officers if you have any kind of concerns or any questions. It's a little bit more personal, and we can discuss a lot more. But other than that, if you have any other questions.
Any questions from the board online or in person? Simeon has a question.
Yes, Sergeant Martinez or Lieutenant Yamashita. I wanted to ask you one question. Based on if there's a car parked near a parking sign, and then there's an intersection, and if the car is parked on a corner, right next to the sign, is that safe or unsafe? Or can we do something about that for the safety of the people who's on the car toward where they're on the stop sign, and then the intersection that's going across, eventually they park their car there right on the corner of the stop sign. So when the cars are coming down, it's kind of like a obstruction of view. But it happens on many different places in Kalihi. Is there a way you can kind of guide us through that? I mean, it's to me, I think it's unsafe.
Okay, with that, the best answer I can give you is you might want to call us so the officer can come out and assess the situation. There is laws regarding vehicles parked within so many feet of an intersection or within so many feet of a stop sign. And I understand how you said that it is an obstruction of view for vehicles coming out of that street to try and make a turn. So it does make it difficult for drivers to exit their roadway. So if you do have a situation like that in your neighborhood, go ahead and give us the police a call, and we'll come out and we'll service that call for you.
Any more questions from the board online or in person? Randy, you have your hand up?
Yes, I do. Good afternoon. LT, a quick question. The new crime maps have areas listed by beat. What beat is Kalihi Valley in?
So Kalihi Valley is going to consist of beat 559.
559.
Yes, sir.
And the second thing, all these new cameras going up in like Chinatown and on the beach area, do HPD have a cyber unit that monitors these cameras?
That was brought up at another meeting in one of the other neighborhood boards. That you would have to reach out to the District 1 Chinatown substation. I know they were still in the works of figuring out who's going to be monitoring it, if an officer was going to be stationed in the substation to monitor the cameras. But like I said, it's not in our district at the time. It's in another district, so they're still trying to figure out what the procedure is going to be for that.
Yeah, I'm asking because I believe that, security guards can monitor cameras. It's cheaper than hiring police officers. That's why I was asking if HPD was looking into hiring a cyber unit where you don't tie up any policemen. You could just hire any security guard company like at the airport to do that, because we're going to ask for cameras in our parks to be safe, and we want to know if the cameras were being monitored. So I want to know if they're being monitored by the people in Chinatown. But like I said, if they have a cyber unit of security guards that could just look at a camera, there ain't no danger in a room, and they can direct the police where to go. I'm just trying to figure that out before we ask for cameras for our parks to make our parks safe, since cameras are going up everywhere. I thought that maybe HPD would have a cyber unit that would monitor these cameras, but apparently not at this particular time.
The last I've heard was the officers at the Chinatown substations were monitoring those cameras.
So we do have officers of Chinatown monitoring these cameras?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because that's what I want to know, because when we ask for cameras, we need to know. But like I said, they can clear up officers by just hiring security guards because they're just sitting in a room telling you where to go. All right, that's all the questions I have, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any more questions from the board online or in person? If not, board members, any questions from the community online or in person? Mr. Sung?
Mr. Yamashita, Lieutenant Yamashita, there was 3 shootings. One I know went on school and Camp Park Road, but it was more on outside of our neighborhood board meeting district. But it was right there on the border. And then had one shooting that started in Camp Court housing, but they found the car in Kalihi Valley Homes. And then there was another shooting someplace on School Street. All those shootings, they don't fall in our report, do they? They're all in a different neighborhood board.
Correct. They didn't fall under your areas. I know the one in Camp 4 housing, I believe that one was, they didn't allocate anyone yet. The one on School Street, I don't believe they located one either yet. But that one is not within your guys' neighborhood board in your guys' area.
I mean, it was so close. I mean, it was right across the street, so it was border. So,
Correct. So they have a detective still assigned to it, and it's still under further investigation.
and no one got shot, right, at all 3 of those?
I don't recall if the one in Camp 4 housing, the one like you said is right outside of you guys. I don't believe anyone was shot on that one.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And if there are no more questions from the community for Honolulu Police Department, then I want to thank you and have a good evening and Happy New Year's. Have a New Year's.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Up next is Board of Water Supply. I
Hi,
was
good,
informed.
oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was told Iris Soda wouldn't be here, but Stephen Nordstrom.
Nordstrom, that is correct. Yes, Stephen Nordstrom here from the Board of Water Supply for Iris. And for the Board of Water Supply in the month of November, we had 4 main breaks. We had one on October 8th at 1958 Kamehameha High, the 4th Road. We had one on October 15th. It was an 8-inch main break at 1752 Keno Street. We had one on October 24th, another 8-inch main break at 3490 Kalihi Street. And then on Halloween, we had one, another 8-inch at 1854 Kilohi Street in the Kalihi Valley area. And for our monthly announcement, Board of Water Supply is looking for future folks to join us and be part of our organization. We're looking to fill permanent full-time positions in engineering, information technology, customer care, and administrative support. So if you are interested in joining a wonderful organization, you can find out more about our open positions at boardofwatersupply.com/jobs. And Iris did bring 2 questions to me for follow-up that you guys had at the last meeting. One of the questions was at our Kalihi 614 reservoir right at Kalihi Ice Ponds. The question was, are there any cameras at the facility? And the answer is yes, we do have cameras. And some of the community members were concerned about hunters trespassing, about off-leash dogs. So just to give you an update, we continue to get reports about trespassers at our BWS property located at the Kalihi 614 reservoir. We have had no reports of any or evidence of any intrusion into our Board of Water Supply facility. While trespassing, unfortunately, remains a concern and continues, our primary responsibility is, of course, to protect the security of our infrastructure so we can continue to provide safe drinking water to the community. And we do ask your support if you do see people trespassing into our facility to please call 911, or you can call BWS Security at 808-748-9111. We greatly appreciate your support on that. And that is the report and the response to the question from last month.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from the board online or in person? So we do have a community member. Anyone online? No board member. Okay. Any community members? So Dana, yeah, you have a question?
My question was that museum that's on King Street and off Tailing. We wanted to hear details as far as can we go visit and that kind of stuff. So
yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a great question. I would love that museum. It's been under construction forever. Before I even started working at the Board of Water Supply, it seems like it's been 8 million years. But I'll follow up and see what the progress is. I know construction has still been ongoing and there's been some issues, but we have our Fred Ort Museum, which hasn't been open in a long time. So yeah, I'll follow up and have Iris report at the next month's meeting. Great question, though. Thank you for bringing that up.
okay.
Thank you. And then board member Rojas has a question.
So as far as the WS security, you said you guys have a security that's a 24-hour security.
Yes, we do.
Do you have? Yeah. Would you happen to have the contact just in case we come up with something or we witness something?
Yeah, the phone number. If you see something that's, because the board, we have so many facilities, we have cameras, but we don't actually have people stationed at the facility. But so if you see something, we definitely appreciate the community's help. That number is area code 808-748-9111. 3 ones. 748-9111. So yeah, please let BWS Security know. I know it's an ongoing issue, so anything you guys can do to report it helps a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Are there any more questions from the board or community online or in person? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Happy holidays.
You as well. Thank you. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Okay, next on the agenda is residents and community concerns. Are there any residents and community concerns at this time, online or in person? Any hands online? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you. And if there are no resident and community concerns at this time, we can move on to presentation of the city's Department of Environmental Services on sewer rate increase beginning July 1st, 2025. We can have the chair.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Mike O'Keefe. I'm the Deputy Director at the city's Department of Environmental Services. And I'm here to talk tonight about a proposal that our department currently has in front of the City Council to increase sewer fees beginning in, as Chair mentioned, beginning July 1st, 2025. And what our proposal is actually it's a proposal to increase sewer fees incrementally every year for the next 10 years, beginning July 1st, 2025 through 2035. But before I get into the details of that, I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of just tell you a little bit more about what our department does, and I think that'll create a better understanding for why we need this additional revenue. So I mentioned with the Department of Environmental Services, so we handle all wastewater and solid waste on Oahu, all of the city's wastewater infrastructure and solid waste infrastructure. On the wastewater side, that means 2,100 miles of sewer pipes. Those sewer pipes feed wastewater from all homes and hotels to 72 wastewater pump stations. Those pump stations pump the wastewater to one of 9 wastewater treatment plants. So it's quite a vast infrastructure. The wastewater treatment plant that services this area is on Sand Island, the Sand Island Wastewater Treatment Plant. I mentioned we also do solid waste. So very briefly on solid waste side, our department manages the Waimalolo Gulch landfill that's been in the news recently. We do all the curbside collection, so the yellow trucks you see coming through and getting the gray, green, and the blue carts, that's our department. We manage all the transfer stations, including the Kalihi transfer station on Middle Street. We do we manage H-Power, the waste to energy facility, and a couple of more smaller items, but those are the big items. So why are fees? Why are we proposing to increase fees? A couple of reasons. First, we haven't raised fees since 2016, so it's been a while. We have, just like everyone, personal and business alike, our costs to do business are going up. So that's our cost to operate and maintain all of the infrastructure, mainly on the wastewater side that I was talking about. So there's operation and maintenance costs. There's also our construction program. We actually not only have to operate and maintain these facilities and this infrastructure, but we have to upgrade it and build new stuff because it's quite old. We have sewer pipes in the ground, some of which are in Kalihi that are over 100 years old, if you can believe it, clay pipes. Our construction program over the course of 2025 to 2025 to 2040 is $10.1 billion. So it's fairly sizable. The biggest, I'll mention too, the biggest chunk of that, the biggest chunk of that $10.1 billion is the upgrade to the treatment plant that this services this area, Sand Island. So we're upgrading that facility to from a primary treatment technology to what's called secondary treatment, which is basically cleaner water that we discharge into the deep ocean outfall, which is where all wastewater on Oahu goes. So that project alone to upgrade Sand Island, the entire plant is about $2.4 billion. So a lot of this expense is actually investing in infrastructure that services this community. We're also doing other things, upgrading sewer pipes around the island to prevent spills, upgrading treatment plants and our coastal infrastructure to reinforce it for climate change. And we have a lot of permit regulations coming down the pipe too. We need to upgrade our facilities to meet higher regulation standards for the water that we discharge into the ocean. We treat, should have mentioned this at the beginning, but every day we treat on average of 100 million gallons of wastewater a day that's injected into the environment, that's discharged into the environment. So big question is how much are we proposing to increase the bill over this 10-year period? 10 years. The first 6 years, it's going to be, the proposal is for a 9% increase every year for the first 6 years. For years 7, 8, 9, and 10, it goes to 8%, 7%, 6%, 5%. Cumulatively, so those percentages are compounded. So from 2025 to 2035, what you're looking at cumulatively is a 124% increase over that 10-year period. So it's a lot, and we recognize that. Some changes that are coming to you that are going to be proposed to come to your bill too. If you're familiar with your sewer bill right now, if you get a sewer bill or a water bill, you know that the sewer actually comes on your water bill, right? So you get a bill from the board of water supply. It's got your drinking water charges on it and your sewer fees. Right now, the sewer fees are composed of two elements. There's a fixed base charge that is the same every month, no matter how much water you use. And then there's what we call a volumetric charge, which goes up and down based on your water usage, because however much water you use, that determines how much water goes into the sewer, and that's why that volumetric charge changes. So the average bill right now is the fixed charge is of the sewer bill. The fixed charge is about 70% of the sewer bill. The volumetric charge is 30%. So fairly high fixed charge, right? 70%. In this proposal, what we're doing in order to give people greater control over their bill and greater ability to reduce their bill is we're switching that percentage, that average percentage, from 70-30 fixed to volumetric to 50-50. So going forward, come July 1st, 2025, it's going to be 50% of the charge is going to be bill is going to be fixed, and 50% will be volumetric, and you can lower your bill by reducing less water. Again, we recognize that this is a huge, over the course of 10 years, it's a sizable increase, a significant increase. Something that we haven't done before, but we're gonna be proposing when we roll out the this rate increase is we're gonna have a customer assistance program. We haven't done this before. I won't go into too much details, but I'll say this. Every year, we're going to dedicate $10 million to this customer assistance program. It's going to be income-based. So if you folks are familiar with what happened, like during COVID, the city had the rental and utility relief program that gave folks who were renters who fell on hard times and couldn't pay their rent or their utilities, gave them money to do that. Actually, it didn't give them money, it gave the utilities the money and basically paid the bills for the people. It didn't give the people the money directly. But we're going to be doing something similar like that with our program in conjunction with raising the fees. So for people who qualify at certain income levels, and right now we're looking at 80% area median income, which is kind of a standard level of affordability. People will qualify for like a $20 to $25 credit per month on their bill. And just round numbers, what your average sewer bill looks like right now is about $110 a month. It's going to go up, as I mentioned, but right now it's about $110 a month. Those are the main points I wanted to cover. I wanted to also mention too what we're doing as far as public outreach and public awareness. We are going to, we've asked to do this presentation basically at every neighborhood board, all 30 plus neighborhood boards across Oahu. I think you folks are like number 8 we've gotten to. So we've got more boards coming for the rest of this month and December and actually into January already. We're having, currently right now we have 2 sewer fee town halls scheduled. So we have one in Kapolei, the date is escaping me right now. It's November 17th and November 19th. It's next week, but it's on our website, which I'll give out at the end of this presentation. It's at Kapolei Hale. It's during the day. Sorry, it's just after work hours, and where anybody from the community can come ask questions. It's going to be a giant Q&A session about this proposal. We're also going to have one at the Blaisdell Center. The one at the Blaisdell Center is on December 3rd. It's during the day. So The one in Kapolei is after work for people who can't come during the day. The one at Blaisdell is during the day for people who can't come, after work hours for whatever reason. And we're also in the process of scheduling 4 more town hall meetings to discuss the sewer proposal increase. One's going to be in Aina Haina, one's going to be Mililani, Nanakuli, and then we're going to do Kailua Kaniahe side at a certain point. All this before the rates go into effect. Also, as Mr. Rojas knows, we've been doing. He's been a wonderful participator in our advisory group. So we have an advisory group that's helped us develop this rate package that we've proposed to City Council. So the advisory group has about 30 to 35 members in it. Has neighborhood board members, has representatives from the hospitality industry, from our regulators, the State Department of Health. Engineering community, nonprofit sector, so on and so forth. We've been meeting on this proposal, this sewer fee increase proposal, since May of this year. We have another meeting coming up on Monday. It's going to be our 7th meeting. And the advisory group, which Mr. Rojas is a part of, has been great. They've provided a lot of feedback and actually steered the development of what the proposal looks like, the proposal that's currently in front of City Council right now. And that's it. So the proposal is in front of City Council right now. It was introduced on November 7th. It has another hearing at the end of this month. It'll have another hearing in December, and it'll have more hearings in January. So all opportunities to watch this thing, see the public discourse. There's newspaper articles and a lot of public debate going on about this. So. That's my presentation, but I'm happy to talk about, provide more information or answer any questions.
Any questions from the board members online or in person? If they're in person first, if you guys have any questions. If not, I see. Oh, do you have it?
No, I just wanted to say,
Mr. Rojas.
could you kind of more talk about the affordable program for them, as far as like,
Sure.
you know,
Yes, yeah. So I mentioned that it's going to be, we're modeling it closely after the city's rental and utility relief program. So for folks who aren't familiar with that program, we're going to have a kind of a third party administer the customer assistance program for us. Like I mentioned, it's going to be an income-based, basically a needs-based program where people will have to qualify. They'll submit a request or an application to qualify. This third party will vet the application for us to confirm that they in fact do need support under this program, and then if they do need support, then they'll be eligible for the monthly credit on their bill, and then there'll be a periodic kind of reevaluation or renewal process. We haven't established the period of review yet, but it'll be something like 6 months or every 12 months. They'll have to go through every application just to confirm that the circumstances are still such that assistance is needed.
And I do see Brandy online has his hand up. Mr. Franklin.
Yes, I have a question. I have a few questions on this proposal because since you're going to raise my rates up 125%. The first thing is, did all this money be used for infrastructure and not for pay raises, right?
Well, I can't say that it's not going to be used for pay raises. I mean, we have a workforce of 900 people in our department. The guys the workers that collect the trash, that service the sewer pipes, and they get periodic pay raises once every year or two. So I mentioned that some of this revenue is going to go to our operations and maintenance expenses, and paying their salaries is some of our operations expense.
And my second question, since y'all proposing this 125% pay raise, is the board of water supply, are you going to come out with a budget to show us where the money is currently going and why you're losing so much money that you need to raise our rates 125%?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and thank you. So there are, for the folks in the room, there's a 2-page flyer that I left at the front of the table here. For folks online, we have an entire web page dedicated to providing information about the proposal, and it includes what you just mentioned, Mr. Franklin. I'll offer the webpage right now. Is for those online. It's honolulu.gov /ENV /sewer fee rates.
Right, and that's gonna show the Board of Water Supply, budget and how they're losing so much money that they need to raise our rates 125%.
So this is the Department of Environmental Services, not the Board of Water Supply, but it'll
I'm
show.
sorry, Environmental Services.
Yes, it'll show what our capital budget is over the next 15 years.
Is it gonna show your past budget of why you need to raise rates to 125% is my question.
You can find the
Because
past
you have to be
budgets
losing
on-
money if you're gonna raise our rates 125% over 10 years. That's a lot of money. And it's gonna force people into your customer service program because you're doubling their rates. I mean, there's already people on subsidies now that's getting basically 80% paid for them. The new customer service rate will be people who are barely making it, that's not getting assistance, but these new rates gonna force them on assistance. So now they gotta apply for assistance for these rates. That's why I'm asking these questions. And the last, has city council already voted on this, or is this something you telling us that we're gonna, no matter what?
Now, as I mentioned, it passed its introductory hearing on November 7th. There's another hearing at the end of this next week. There is another hearing in December, and there are more hearings in the beginning of next year.
Wow, thank
And
God.
it has to pass city council to take
And
effect.
this will be a big hit in any election where you're gonna tell people they're gonna get a raise on their garbage, their water, their sewage. That is a great deal of money. I mean, a lot of money. And the mere fact that it can be used for pay raises for executives and employees, it is I just don't see it. But you know what, sir? Thank you. I'll take it up with my city council person and the mayor. Thank you very much. I yield back.
Did other board members have any questions for EMV? And if not,
I have a comment. Mr. Franklin, the first year's raise will be 9%, right? So the first year will be 9%, the second year will be 9%. The 124 is over a period of 10 years.
Yeah.
So you're not getting 124% next year in July 1st. We're gonna get a 9% increase.
From the first 6 years.
And I think
I
part
understood
of
the numbers,
for the
Alan.
9%
Alan, I
increase
understood the
is
numbers.
Eventually,
Eventually, it'll be 100.
operational cost. Yeah, but it's in 10 years.
I understood the
You keep
numbers,
saying
Alan.
124
Let me
immediately.
know when you're finished.
124 immediately. It's in 10 years. But anyway,
Thank you. It's an important clarification.
yeah.
May I speak, Madam Chair?
Mr. Franklin?
Yes, I understood the numbers, Alan. I understand that in 10 years, it's 124%, but every year it goes up 9%. It goes up more than rent goes at 3%. So the question is, why do you need 9% every year for 10 years? And if you're gonna make us pay 9% every year for 10 years, why don't you show your budget to show where you're wasting money or why you need the money? Don't just come out and say you're gonna raise us in 10 years 124%, starting at 9% a year. I understand numbers. That's why I'm asking him these questions. But if you think our constituents or the people in Kalihi Valley can afford 124%, then it makes sense to you. But it doesn't make sense to me why people need to pay 124% if you can't show me where the money's going, how you're spending the money, what the money's being waged for, and how many people will get more money on salaries. I know they need to be paid. But first show me, like any budget in any home, show me where the money's going. Don't just say over 10 years. But yes, it's 9%, 9%, 9%. Every year somebody got to come up with more money out of their household budget to pay this money until you reach 124%. And then 10 years later, it might go up another 120%. You just don't know. But I understand numbers, Alan. That's why I asked the questions. I yield
Yeah,
back.
I just want to clarify too that, you mentioned about, wasting money and our budgets. And again, I direct you to the website where we try to be as transparent as possible, put all of our budget, all of our expenses on there for the next 15 years and going back, I think 20 years is on the city's Department of Budget and Fiscal Services. The entire city's budget, including our budget and our expenses, are on the city's website. All the information is public. It's all out there. And if I can answer any more questions about it, I'm happy to do that.
Are there any more questions from the community online or in person? Mr. Song?
So, my question is, have you guys ever thought about looking at other technology for processing the sewer? There's one, sewer treatment plant in Pennsylvania. Have you heard about that one?
Maybe.
So what they do is they, I forget the technology off the top of my head what they do, but they take the sewer, and it goes through piping, they heat it up, I forget what they do, but it comes out and two things come out from it. One is pure clean water, 100% clean water, free of PFAS. So the forever chemical. You could dump it in the ocean, fresh water, passes all the chemical tests. So that's the first thing. Second thing, the methane comes out, and they use that to power not only the facility, right? So you're saving money on the facility from purchasing electricity, but there's 30% extra that they turn around and they sell back to the community. So that's another thing. So that's a money generating thing. And then the third thing, the last thing that they have is activated carbon. So all the things that come out from it, the poop, all the other stuff that's in it comes out in the form of activated carbon. And what they've been using it is to replace sand for concrete and things like that. So for all this climate change and all these other things that they have, instead of us digging up sand from all these quarry pits, they're able to supplement that additional stream of revenue. Or they could turn around and give it to the farmer, sell it to the farmers, and they could use that to fertilize the fields. So this is just a new technology that's out there that it's not 100% tested, but they've been working on it. And with our 9 sewer plants, I'm pretty sure it's not meant for large scale, but they said medium-sized scales. And with our 9 spread around, we could do that, and you guys can make additional revenue to do this.
Yeah, it was a really astute observation. I'm glad you mentioned it because it gives me an opportunity to talk about that a little bit.
I know you're kind of doing that in Sand Island,
yes.
but you're just turning around and you're selling it to the gas company, right?
So at Honolulu and the plant that services like Eva area, so we gather the methane from the anaerobic digesters that digest the sludge, the poop. Sell it to Hawaii Gas, and that money comes back to the city and offsets our operating costs. So we don't have to raise rates as much, right, to pay for our operations. But for Sand Island, again, the plant that services this area, we are absolutely doing what you said as part of this $2.4 billion upgrade project. So we're not only installing this really advanced treatment technology so that we can discharge cleaner water into the ocean. But as part of this project, as you can imagine, $2.4 billion, there's a lot going on. Part of this project is going to be to install on-site power generation. Basically that takes the resources that are in the waste that we collect, the methane basically, cleans it, scrubs it, and we're evaluating an engineering report as to whether or not we want to do a similar situation where we sell it to a third party like Hawaii Gas, or we use that gas to turn a turbine on site to create electricity to offset our power needs from ECO. our department's energy bill every month is, every year is $40 million. So anything that, and we create, there's a lot of waste, that 60 million gallons a day just from the urban Honolulu area goes to Sand Island. That's a lot of methane and a lot of energy. So we can make a lot of money from that and create a lot of energy from that to offset the operations costs and so on. So we're absolutely looking at that.
So if you're able to turn it, sorry, that's okay. So if you're able to create 130% electricity, right?
Mhm.
Pay all your electric bill, then turn around and sell it back to HECO,
Mhm.
right? That would decrease your operation cost, right? And then if you're able to get that activated carbon, sell it to all the cement companies or to the farmers, right, to help refertilize the field, so we're able to do farm to table here.
Yeah.
Makes a lot more sense to make you guys more focused on repairing
Yes.
the sewer pipes and collecting Opala. Is your email your first dot last name at honolulu.gov?
It's first initial, last name, no dot, at honolulu.gov.
I'm gonna email you the information that I have about Pennsylvania.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think you should invite yourself to come to
Yeah.
Or why don't you email me the information for the next meeting?
Exactly, whatever you had said, I visited the facility up in, you should do that too. So that way you have more intel as far as,
Yeah.
cause they also, reuse the water to, water the golf course and stuff like that, and also,
Well,
like what you said.
they've been doing that for a long time, the purple pipe.
So I think
Yeah.
it would be so nice if you could, attend and then you can bring some inputs into the, into the
Yeah,
meetings.
Mr. Ross, thank you. So the website I just mentioned, so we have a tour, a wastewater facility tour that you can sign up for on that website. We'll pick you up. We'll pick you up in a big Robert Swati bus. 50 people. We'll take you all around to our plants, like 4 or 5 hour tour, free. So if you're interested, sign up on that.
We should do this as a group,
I do that.
Together. Okay.
I had a question about the plan. Sorry, is it, that's a question?
Yeah, Mr. Hussey has a question.
So, if you were to, I love the idea of combusting the methane and using it to generate electricity. That would release CO2. So would you be able to capture the CO2 on site and then use that for other purposes as well?
Yeah, I mean, perhaps. I mean, that any sort of operation like that. So we manage the H Power facility to our department. I think I mentioned that before you came, but so those type operations are emissions controls are really highly regulated.
Sure.
And so we would be required to scrub anything out of the emissions that are harmful to the environment, and if there's an opportunity to reuse it, particularly if it's a savings opportunity, we're all over it. I mean, this upgrade that we're bringing to Sand Island, it's going to be in the continental United States, it's going to be the biggest plant with using this advanced treatment technology in the entire country. So it's fairly advanced. So it'll include stuff like that.
I mean, the state could utilize that CO2 to make things like jet fuel.
Yeah.
Which would be really advantageous. Can I follow up with you?
Sure, of course.
Thank you. Are there other questions from the community, online or in person? And if not, I want to thank you, is it Mr. O'Keefe? Thank you so much for presenting, and have a happy holidays and New Year's.
Thank you as well. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is city elected officials. Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative Bandmaster Clark Bright.
Aloha Chair, aloha members, community. Hope you're having a great day. Just a quick announcement from the mayor. The monthly newsletter is up on the link in the chat. You can find it there. It highlights, again, the raising of sewer fees, some Pride Month, updated flood maps, a true story of an open ocean rescue, and the baseball field in Waipahu opening. Again, the link is in the chat. From the Neighborhood Commission office, the Neighborhood Commission's Neighborhood Plan Committee began meeting to conduct a comprehensive review of the neighborhood plan. Presentation with more information is available in your board's Google Drive. The committee currently meets on the third Monday of every month at 6 p.m. Any questions, please contact the Neighborhood Commission office. Having some follow-up from previous meetings. The first one involved a dog attack and statistics. A resident raised concerns that dog attacks were not reported during ACPD monthly statistics. So would dog attacks be included in the assault category? He was bitten by a dog near the end of Kalihi Street and is concerned about the dog being with illegal hunters. So from HPD, dog attacks are not categorized under the assault statistics. When a dog bites someone, HPD normally documents that incident under a miscellaneous public report. If the dog has bitten multiple people and it can be determined that the dog is a dangerous dog, the owner of the dog will be cited and the Hawaiian Humane Society will take the dog. They will at that time investigate the incident further and take the appropriate enforcement action. Okay, our next one was in regards to illegal hunters. That request came from officers patrolling the end of Kalihi Street near the entrance to Kalihi Ice Pond. They requested for officers to patrol that area. There's a group of armed young hunters with attack dogs. Neighbors fear for safety after a recent dog attack, and the hunters didn't stop to render any aid. Again, from HPD, the State Department of Land and Natural Resources, or DLNR, regulates hunting on public lands. The private property owners are responsible for their lands and who they allow to hunt on their lands. When hunters are observed possibly engaging in suspicious activity, the DLNR should be contacted immediately so that a conservation and resources enforcement officer can be dispatched to investigate. HPD is called to assist if needed. Okay, another one is in regards to DFM. There was a request for a no parking sign to be installed in the appropriate zone at the intersection of Kilohana and Kalihi Street on the bridge above Kamanaiki Stream. So from DFM, DTS, Transportation Services, issued a legal paint and sign work order for signage and striping improvement that included the installation of a no parking on bridge sign near the intersection of Kilohana and Kalihi Street. On the bridge above Kamanaiki Street. Work is scheduled to be performed by the end of 2024, pending weather conditions and available resources. So again, I want to thank the community for sharing those concerns. That's how we get some of these things done. And the last concern is in regards to renovations of Kalihi District Park. The Parks Department did not respond to that request, so we'll leave it and table it for next time for the next meeting. That's all I have, Chair. Open for questions or concerns. Mahalo.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board online or in person? Is there anyone online? No? Okay. Any?
Chris just raised.
Oh, Chris Lualemaga, online, you have a question?
Yes, aloha, thank you. I just had a quick question about the intersection of Wailele and Kalihi Street. If the Department of Transportation was able to conduct an investigation regarding that intersection, going both lanes.
Bandmaster, this is Lynn from.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry.
Yeah, Chris, I have that update for you.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Lynn.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board online or in person, or the community online or in person? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much, Bandmaster Clark Bright. Have a happy holiday. Have a good happy New Year.
I just have one quick thing, if you don't mind, real quick. This is for Mr. Yap. I want to let it know that the Aurora Hawaiian Band representative will be there at the Monday meeting for the parade coming up very, very soon. Aloha, mahalo, Mr. Yap. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, I'll announce that later.
Mahalo. Thank you.
Mahalo. Up next, we'll have Councilmember Tyler Dos Santos Tam, Lynn Robinson. If you want to start off with that report. Sorry.
Aloha Chair, aloha board members and community members. Lynn Robinson for Councilmember Dos Santos Tam. I put the link to the newsletter in the chat, and I won't belabor all of it, but there's some interesting, some good news about some bills in progress, to include Bill 52 related to the e-bikes. So we have recommendations that will be coming from the working group, and Bill 51 related to adapted reuse of commercial buildings. Also, the Game Rooms Task Force has given their recommendations to the City Council, which will influence bills going forward. So take a look if you have a chance. Also, reach out to our office if you want to receive those newsletters in your inbox at the beginning of the month. So for Chris, that request for a traffic study on Kalihi near Kamanaiki and Willalei Street, DTS did respond saying that they're conducting an investigation for traffic concerns on Kalihi near Kamanaiki and Willalei Street, which may require research, site inspection, speed study, and analysis of the area's traffic collision history, and they will notify our office when the status of our findings are done. And that is projected to be done by the end of April 2025. So I look forward to being able to report those results to you. Chris, do you have any questions about that? I hope I was clear.
That's perfect. Thank you. Any update on the painted lines on Kalihi Street?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's a service order for that though. It's in the queue.
Awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate your follow-up. Also for Board Member Koga, there was a request for a speed study and speed enforcement on Kalihi Street between Perry and Monty Street, and it's because of excessive speeding. So that request went in, and HPD got back with us to say from October 17th to the 23rd, Corporal Robert Del Rosario of the District 5 Kalihi Community Policing Team operated a speed laser enforcement along Kalihi Street to monitor the speeding in the area. During that operation, 2 verbal warnings were given. No other violations were observed, and officers will continue to make periodic checks in the area for violations. So, is there any questions on that? I think, so I wanted to follow up with you folks. I know a group of board members accompanied me to a site visit out at Kalihi Valley District Park a few months back. Since we noticed many things that needed improvements at the park, our first plan was to reach out to the Department of Design and Construction and find out what was actually already in the queue and what their plans for projects were before we made our requests. So we finally have that information, and so some of the construction is on hold because they're trying to resolve some issues of ponding. I don't know if you've seen where it's kind of boarded up over there. We're gonna try to figure out why it's taking so long, but anyhow, there's pooling happening in the swimming pool locker rooms, and they're working with a design consultant to find a solution. And so we don't have a firm timeline, but we're gonna keep after that. The list of completed construction projects that things that are done there are inside the restrooms, outside comfort station, the walkway to the playground from the building, and the ADA ramp from the parking lot to the pool. Now, I don't think that those were any of the things that we actually observed, except maybe the restroom. And since we were there, the drinking fountain was repaired. But we have outstanding issues that now our office is requesting. And those are the termite damage to the court floors, the replacement or repairing of the grates that have disintegrated that are allowing for the birds. And actually, I think that they had intruders come in. So, and then there's those two motors for the basketball backboards that are broken so that they're not able to play full court. And that seems to be a bit of a sticking issue that we're going to have to keep after because that's been going on for like 3 years. And so we have no leagues in there and it's kind of a problem. So those requests from our office are going in from our office now that we know that they haven't been in the queue. There was some misinformation. So I will continue to report to you folks about the status as soon as I know the status of those projects. I'm also really happy to report that because the pool, that beautiful pool, there's a couple over there, have been completely underutilized for the community. And so they now have a newly hired pool manager and they're hiring additional lifeguards, and they're going to expand the junior lifeguard program and expand pool hours. And so I'm hoping next time we get together, I'm going to have a little bit more information about that, just because I'm hearing that pool is going to be open on the weekends and after school, and so it's just kind of good news, and hopefully we can. Who knows? Maybe we can even get a high school swim team over there at some point. So with that, I think that concludes my report, and I'm happy to take any questions back.
Yes, thank you. Are there any questions from the board online or in person? Not seeing online. So any questions from the community online or in person? Mr. Sons has a question.
About the park, you have to add the roof to your list. And that's from a different department. I forget his name. But they're also working on fixing the roof.
So yes, the roof is already in the queue, and there's a couple of park roofs at these district parks. So what's happening over there is that it's not necessarily that the roof itself is failing. It's that nasty insulation stuff that's sprayed on it is now deteriorating and just consistently falling all over the courts. And so what we were told is, because we thought maybe that could be treated, right? Removed and replaced, or just removed. And the parks are looking at a full roof replacement. So obviously that's at a great.
Uh-oh.
You're
frozen. Do you remember what she said? Sorry.
It's a great.
The whole roof.
So she's probably gonna say it's gonna take longer.
Lynn, are you still there? It's not our connection, is it?
And then the pooling, according to, I forget the lady, the Parks and Rec lady, she also said the pooling was because of the sewer in the bathrooms, from what I remember last time talking to her. Do you remember that, Mr. Kumai? Because you were there. It has to do with the sewer backing up. So,
Yeah, we can move on, and then when she comes back, if she has anything else. There's no point in asking questions if she's not here.
Well, my question was, we get the pool and all this, but what about the parking? We get off-time parking for water exercise classes. And then now they get pickleball class, and the police parks there, the city and county bands park there, and the teachers from Kalihi and park there. And people sneak in from the nursing home and they park there. So by the time we come, we have
that it's on
Yep. And then when she comes back on, we can tell her.
Yeah. What about is she gonna be the one to write it down?
Yeah, I'll read it down.
Okay, we'll pass it on to.
Oh, she's back.
Oh, Lynn, can you hear us? Did you hear us the whole time? I'm hoping a yes, but it's okay.
You're still muted, Lynn. Still muted.
Still muted, yeah. I see her as well.
Can you hear us, Lynn?
Can you hear us? I don't know if she can hear us.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
I am so sorry.
We can
guys.
finally hear you.
Okay, I'll be brief. The roof is on the list of for replacement, and so there's no timeline for it, but DPR is tracking. The roofs of a couple of the district park buildings have that horrible insulation stuff on it, and rather than treating that, they want to put completely new roofs on. So definitely a valid point, and we'll just try to keep after it.
And
we
had another question. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah, I probably didn't. I'm sorry.
Like the Kalihi Valley Park District Park parking. I mean, like, you know, you say, oh, the pool's gonna be open. Yeah, we've been going to water exercise class on Tuesdays and Fridays. You know, we have a difficult time parking because especially when school is in session, the teachers from Kalihi and Dole get to park in the parking lot. The police has 10 blue and white parking spaces, but sometimes they park more. And then the city and county vans are, you know, they're parked there, but they might go out during the day, but they put their phones up so nobody can park like in between their vans. Yeah. And this is our class starts at 9. And Avalon Nursing Home that across the street. People come in there because, you know, they think it's a public park, so they park there and walk across the street to the, you know, to the nursing home. So,
yeah, I know what you mean, because when I was there, I had to park in the handicap for a minute while we went into our site visit. So and I wondered about park users because it certainly wasn't busy then. Let me follow up on that, and maybe we could ask about something that would be like a couple of parking spots for park users only. Does that sound like that might be I mean, I can't make any promises, but if that's something that you think might be helpful.
Take out the cone.
And or the use of like who's authorizing the use of the saved parking. I will follow up. Okay, we'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any more questions online or in person from the community or board? And if not, I want to thank you so much, Lynn. Have a good evening, happy holidays, and happy New Year's.
Happy holidays and happy New Year's to you folks. Reach out if you need anything.
Definitely. Thank you so much. And next on the agenda is state elected officials, Governor Josh Green's representative, Deputy Director Kristen Sakamoto.
Good evening, everyone. So I dropped a link to the governor's newsletter in the chat, and I wanted to dive into the follow-up from last month's questions. So the first question was regarding the status of the demolition of the rec center at CAM4 Housing. So the Hawaii Public Housing Authority has completed the consultant selection, and they have explained the scope of work and are currently in negotiations with the consultant. HPHA is hoping to receive their proposal and execute a contract in the near future. The second question I had was regarding the governor's plans for captive insurance, and specifically the plan for funding it, whether it would be through taxpayer funds or otherwise. So the governor has proposed a funding strategy for a captive insurance program that may rely on revenue from a tourism-related impact fee rather than taxpayer funds or direct business payments. Following the 2023 Maui wildfires, Governor Green suggested this fee to create a sustainable fund for local disaster insurance. The visitor impact fee would be aimed at generating a steady income stream, making Hawaii less dependent on the private insurance sector. The captive insurance program could be funded through this tourism fee, enabling the state to self-insure for certain risks or provide supplemental disaster coverage. The approach reflects Hawaii's unique reliance on tourism and the governor's emphasis on creating a more resilient and community-centered insurance model to manage disaster risks effectively without additional burden on local taxpayers or businesses. The proposed model highlights the governor's broader strategy to achieve long-term disaster resilience and economic stability by leveraging tourism revenue for Hawaii's emergency needs and recovery infrastructure. And then I also just wanted to provide an update from the governor's office on the ongoing property insurance crisis. So the governor's task force on Hawaii's condo insurance crisis was established to address the recent surge in property and hurricane insurance rates, which are heavily affecting condo owners. The task force consists of a coalition of state officials, industry experts, and federal partners, and is co-led by Hawaii State Insurance Commissioner Gordon Ito and Senate Leader Jared Keohokalole. The task force is focused on making both immediate and long-term recommendations to safeguard the real estate market and protect homeowners from further financial strain due to the condo insurance crisis. The task force continues to meet and is working on finalizing a white paper with recommendations on further actions that could be taken to stabilize the market, which could include use of a captive insurance company. The task force is also discussing proposed changes to the Hawaii Hurricane Relief Fund statutes and to provide additional flexibility to the HHRF board in addressing condo AOAO crises. The HHRF has issued a request for proposal from consultants to provide guidance on restarting the HHRF from its current dormant state. Hawaii Property Insurance Association continues its implementation of a new computer system to increase efficiency and potentially allow expansion in providing condo AOAO insurance. So the governor has also issued an emergency proclamation to address the crisis, which is aimed at supporting purchasing property and hurricane insurance. And as for funding, the plan does not directly allocate taxpayer money. It involves allowing loans to be issued to the HHRF and HPIA. The HHRF does not need a loan as its reserve monies will be used if it is restarted. If HPIA obtains a loan, it could potentially be repaid through premiums or other non-taxpayer sources. So the primary burden is expected to fall on policyholders rather than on general taxpayer funds. And the governor's task force will continue evaluating further steps and working closely with industry partners to prevent further financial impacts. So that's all I have for this month, and I can take any questions.
Any questions from the board online or in person? I do see Mr. Franklin's hand is up online. If you'd like to ask your question, Mr. Franklin.
Yes, good afternoon. Would this insurance also include homeowners instead of just condo owners? And are they going to set up a program like California and Florida have, where we pay our premiums into the disaster fund, and if there's a disaster, they will cover it, because most insurance companies are billing out of California and Florida and are sticking their residents with a bill or not paying the tab.
Let me make sure I understand the question so I can take this back. So you mentioned California and Florida, is that correct?
California and Florida have a state program that the homeowners pay into the state programs for disaster to keep the insurance company from ripping them off. I mean, we haven't been hit with a hurricane since 1950, so if all the homeowners paid into the hurricane disaster fund and we don't get hit for another 50 years, then it's trillions of dollars they got in case we get hit. Because right now I'm being ripped off for my hurricane insurance, even though we have not been hit with a hurricane on this island at all. So I wanted to know if they're going to start a similar program, a state program similar to Florida and California, where homeowners for hurricane insurance pay into the state disaster fund, along with the tourism fund, which should bill a great amount of money in case the island get hit with a disaster. I wonder if their program is something similar to that, is what I'm asking.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. I will follow up. I will ask and get back to you. Thank you.
And I have one more question. My last question is, as the governor said, they would look into the program to finding some kind of agency that would go in to help or benefit like a neighborhood board for CAM 4 so that those people can be represented because it is a state agency pop-up that is controlling those people over there. Do anybody plan on giving them any representation is my question. I think they're in our board area and we're trying to get representation for them and help some of those young minds in there achieve it so we just don't keep calling them criminals and bad people that live over in that area without giving them a chance to get out.
So I know after last month's board meeting, I went back to the governor's office and provided them with some of the suggestions for examples of the outreach that can be performed there. So they, within the governor's office, they are discussing possibilities. I can go back to see if there are any specific things that they have planned out, but I know that they are in discussions with various offices for outreach.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any more questions from the board online or in person? And are there any questions from the community online or in person, Mr. Sung?
Hi, Kristen. This is James Sung. I was the one that brought up the captive insurance part. I was just wondering, is there any way to meet the governor or meet with the task force about all this homeowners insurance? Would love to have a discussion with them about some of my ideas, and as I said, I'm willing to fly out people from the other states who specialize in this subject, you know, to really make this work.
You know, if you can, maybe if you can provide either the chair or Spencer with your email address to provide to me, and then I can figure out a way to get you in touch with the task force or people who can have that discussion with you. But thank you very much for volunteering your services and time.
Thank you.
And I can also give the email, her email to you if you'd like.
I'll give her my work email. I check that every day.
Okay. Are there any more questions from the community online or in person?
I have a question.
Oh, Mr. Hussey has a question.
What is the funding goal for the, I guess the, I don't know what we're calling it.
Captive insurance.
Well, there's two programs we're talking about. There's the captive insurance program, and then there's the program to bolster the property insurance. It's like a property insurance fund. I'm curious what the funding goals are for those two programs.
Funding goals is in terms of a dollar amount or just levels of achievement. Okay. I will ask. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure, sorry, Kristen, I'm pretty sure the task force side, they're doing the 831B, the IRS tax code, the 831B on the federal tax code. So on the captive insurance, I explained to Mr. Hussey how that works. I drew him a diagram. I'm pretty sure that's what we're talking about when it comes to captive insurance on the homeowners or the condo side. Not sure that's what they're thinking too.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no more questions, actually, I do see Ropati Liua online.
Hi, yes. I'm a guest. I'm a friend of one of your your directors over there, and so I had a question. I'm thankful for Mr. Raddy for speaking up for Kalihi Valley Homes, Camp 4. I was born and raised in Camp 4 housing, and my mother and my aunt were the two that kind of got the community together to make sure that our voices were heard in Camp 4 housing. Although we're a low-income housing project, but you know, we're still part of the community and we need to be heard as well. So I'm just curious what organization you said that they're getting together to gather the voices of Camp 4 housing, because I have a lot of family members that still reside in Camp 4. I live in Las Vegas. We moved out because of the cost of living, and I'm glad I'm hearing these. Like, what changes are we gonna bring into the? If you need, I will get as much people to fill that room and make sure that our voices are heard. And so, what organizations do you have that's gathering all the people of Camp 4 housing that you said that they're going to get, so I can get my family members on there?
Thank you for the question. Just to clarify, so the original request that came in was about the governor's plan for performing outreach to the residents of Camp 4 housing. So I think instead of pulling third parties, we're kind of looking, well, they're considering various things, but because it's from the governor's office, I think it would be primarily from, you know, a government services type perspective. I think during the presentation from Hawaii Public Housing Authority, they mentioned that some nonprofits also attend or not attend, but they do have some types of outreach, or I'm not sure exactly what happens there. But yeah, I can go back to the governor's office to check what type of plans they are thinking of, but I don't have any specific third-party organizations at this time to share.
Okay. Do you know if FACE is one of them?
I'm sorry, what was the organization name?
FACE, FACE, Faith Action Community Environment, or something like that.
I can ask.
Because
Yeah, I'm not
they
sure.
were a big part of making sure that Camp 4 gets their renovation, and that's how we got the funding. And then after that, the project was never done, was never finished. They only did the beginning of Camp 4 housing, the ending of Camp 4 housing, and the rest of them just kind of got a little makeover. We had funding approved to get it all done in 2000, and my aunt and my mom were the one who advocated for that. And then when Kapolei was built, that's the project stopped and all the money went that way.
Okay, I'll look into it. Thank you.
All right.
And Mr. Liwa, if you wanted, if you have an email address that if you wanted to ever contact or get involved with our neighborhood board, just wanted to ask for that. If you wanted to put your email or any way to contact any of us, really, to
Sure.
to get connected with family too there, if that's okay. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
And then Mr. Franklin, you have your hand up.
Yes, I want to tell Mr. Rapati that I've been looking for you. So please reach out to me, contact me, call me, email me. I would like to get together with you or anybody in Camp 4 so we can get together and help organize you. So please call me. All right? I would really appreciate it, or email me and give me all your information. And if I have to fly to Las Vegas to meet with you, I will. So to make sure we're on the same page. In fact, I just got back from Las Vegas yesterday. So please contact me. That's what I would like to say.
Absolutely. And we still meet as former residents and current residents of Camp 4 housing. We still get together and we talk about things that we need to get done at because that's our project. And to hear the gym being condemned, that's where we had all our socials, and that's where I think we need to get some kind of building for the kids to go and have fun, versus like what you were saying, how they're labeling us, because we were called that when we were young as well. But the gym is the one that kept us off the streets. It kept us it kept us dancing, it kept us playing sports, and it kept us, playing games inside that community center. So we need a community center in Camp 4 housing.
Yeah, I want you to know that this is your board, and we've been fighting for Camp 4 for a while. So if you can get with me, I would really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if there are no more questions, are there any questions online or in person for Kristen Sakamoto? If not, then I do want to thank you, Kristen Sakamoto, for being here. Have a good evening. Happy holidays and Happy New Year's.
Thank you. Same to all of you.
Thank you. Up next, I do actually have listed Department of Land and Natural Resources. Is a representative here online or in person by any chance? Department of Land and Natural Resources. Trying to look for the email or of the name. And if they're not here, we can table it in case they're not here. Just trying to look for the email.
Just go back to the governor's office.
No, well, because up next we do have If they're not here, then we can move on to Senator Donna Mercado Kim's office. Is Kathy online? Okay, I thought, oh, Kathy Mia,
Hi,
she's
Chair.
on. Hi.
Yes. Hi, Chair. Aloha, Chair Tumbaga, board members, and members of the community. First off, I'm so sorry I missed the beginning of the meeting. I was actually in another community meeting before this. Our office would like to extend a sincere congratulations to Board Member Hussey as House District 29's newly elected representative. So we look forward to seeing you over at the Capitol. The November community report was sent digitally to the chair earlier, I believe last week. And our office would just like to highlight one thing from the report. Last month, Farrington High School received an additional $15.5 million in capital infrastructure funding. The release of this additional funding now allows the $75 million campus redevelopment project to move forward. And that includes the construction of the new gym and music facilities, and also the removal of the old pool as well. So we're looking forward to seeing a new facelift on Farrington High School for the thousands of students that go there. So that's something to look forward to. As I mentioned earlier, I did miss the beginning. So if there was any community concerns that were brought up that would require Senator Kim's help or intervention, you can feel free to bring that up now, or I'll be available for any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board online or in person? Seeing and hearing none, are there any questions from the community online or in person? Oh, Mr. Rojas, did you have? Yes. Okay, no problem. And if you have a question later on, you can always email it to me, or you can email it directly to, do you have an email, Kathy, by any chance?
Yes, so after I will drop it in the chat. I'll drop our office email in there, and also our phone number.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kathy, for being here. Have a good evening, happy holidays, and happy New Year's to you.
Thank you. Same to you. Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe. Take care. And up next, I do have here Representative May Mizuno's office. If she or anyone representing is online or in person. If not, if you have any questions, forward them to me, and I can always forward it to May's office. Okay, next on the agenda is board business. First on the agenda is resolution urging legislator to adopt good government reforms. This is Ikaika's resolution.
Okay.
Is it okay if I get a motion?
I'm not able to actually see anything. I'm no longer on board.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. But I guess anyone want to?
But I can give some context if that helps.
Yes. When we have discussion, but we do need someone to have get a motion as well as a second.
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Franklin. So Mr. Franklin moves. Is there any seconds? Oh, Mr. Rojas seconds. Are there any discussions for this resolution? Mr. Hussey, do you want to elaborate?
Sure, just real briefly. This is a resolution that is being floated by the League of Women Voters and a number of other organizations that are trying to improve the transparency and accountability of government. It's also been approved by a number of neighborhood boards. I don't have the updated quantity now, but there's several that have approved it. There's a bunch of internal changes that need to happen at the legislature in order for bills to basically not get stuck. Right now, the way the ledge is structured, there's a few key committees where things just kind of get stuck in bottlenecks. There's also problems where, for instance, people will submit testimony. Testimony actually doesn't get distributed to everyone else in time. So we have no idea. People can be testifying, you have no idea what they're talking about. So it's about trying to make government, the legislature in particular, more timely, a little more democratic. That's the idea.
Anyone else had anything to add? Mr. Son? Ask a question? Yeah, Mr. Son, you have a question?
So one of the problems in the state legislature is you could submit as many legislations as possible. is this gonna allow them to limit the amount of legislation so you only focus on X amount of legislation to get everything heard and passed? Or are they still allowed to submit 200 pieces of legislation for every single senator and house member?
There's actually restrictions on how many bills each legislator can introduce. I think it's like 15 or 20 or 25. I don't know. I'm on day 8. So I'm not even sure how many bills I get to introduce. But it's a pretty small number.
Because I know not all of them are heard, and I know not all of them are passed. So, maybe only dropping it down to maybe 3 or 4 would speed up things, right?
I think the real problem is bills get introduced, but they never get hearing. Like what you're saying.
Yeah, because there's just so many of them, right? So they're able to limit down to 4, and maybe even co-chair them. That way things can get passed a little bit more easier, and none of this like Bill 61 right now in the House, stupid bill. In the city.
And is there any other discussion, Mr. Franklin? Anyone online? If not, we can. If there's no more discussions, then we can now vote to adopt the resolution. Do we do like an all aye or nay, or do you want to call?
We could do a call for this first one since we have a few voting items.
Oh.
Chris Nualemaga.
I don't think Chris is online.
Randy Franklin.
Yes.
Chester Koga is not here. Alan Kumalai.
Yes.
Simeon Rojas.
Yes.
Fernando Tan. Not with us. Michael Gotti's not with us. Chair Leila Tumba.
Yes. Is this enough?
So yeah, unfortunately we have 4 with Chris jumping off.
We don't have a quorum.
Yeah. So unfortunately it doesn't pass, and I'll keep an eye out for Chris coming back online.
Okay.
Maybe we should fill the vacancy too.
Well, we can't now.
I thought you were going to do your in January, so I thought you were still a member. I didn't want to make you yet.
Okay, so yeah, unfortunately we can't do any board business, but we can just keep it on there for the next month.
And is it okay if I ask Randy about the resolutions at least, like the?
Yeah, because there was some confusion with that, right?
Yeah. So, Mr. Franklin, because we have your resolution encouraging safe routes to school, you can already have your resolution ready, and so that way we can already read it before the meeting, and that way we can just vote on it like what we did for Mr. Hussey.
No, I didn't want to. I thought we had to agree to do a resolution first, not that I just write one. So I was bringing it to the board. I wasn't sure that the board needs to agree that yes, we should write a resolution. And if they agree, then I will write a resolution for that matter. Not that I just write a resolution and bring it to the board. I thought the board has to agree on what resolutions we are going to write. So if that's wrong, you can let me know. But that's why I wanted a resolution committee. What I'm proposing for next January is the 2 suggestions of the resolutions that I would write for school safety and for safe parks. So that's why I don't have a resolution, because I just didn't want to bring a resolution to the board and then you have to agree on it. I believe as a group, we should decide what resolutions we want to send up and then have them written. So that's why they're there.
Yeah, Randy, you can bring any. You could just write a resolution and bring it to the board. If I've never seen it done, but I guess you could ask if the board just to see if they're interested before you wrote a resolution. But usually boards wouldn't want to adopt a resolution without hearing exactly what it is. But you could maybe have an item on the agenda just kind of testing the water to see if there's interest in it. But most times people just write resolutions and then the board might edit it or add things or take things out if they don't agree with it. But yeah, you can write a resolution every month if you want.
Well, that's why I want a resolution committee, but I think it's fair to the board, because the board can say, I don't want to deal with that matter, and I don't have to write a resolution and waste my time. So I believe we should put it on the agenda, and the board say, yeah, that's a good subject matter. We should write a resolution and then submit it, and then the board can approve it. Not just I write things and then they take things out. I don't want to waste my time either. I mean, I give enough time already. That's free. So
okay.
those two things on the agenda, we should ask the board if the board think a resolution should be written. And if they are, then I'll waste my time writing the resolution. I yield back.
So Spencer, is all right for us to suggest that Mr. Franklin write the resolution?
You mean for these resolutions at this meeting?
Going according to the
I mean, if
standard
you wanted to just mention it that you're interested in whatever topic, then I mean, we can't take a vote on anything tonight. But if you want to encourage him to start writing it, because if we wait till January just to find out if you want to start writing it, then you can't adopt it until February, and that's already like 3 months from now. So you could just say that you guys are interested.
That's not a problem, Spencer. We've been waiting 3 years on the topics I want to talk about. So another month or two ain't gonna make a difference. I just want the board opinion, and I also want to start a resolution committee, which we can't vote on, because a resolution committee is a committee that writes resolutions constantly. So I believe this board power, the reason I want a resolution committee is because this board power, as Senator Kim told us, is resolutions. And we can send resolutions to anybody we want. Anybody in resolution, the board, the resolution committee, send that committee to them. All we got to do is give a copy to the NCO so they can post it on our website. But the board got to understand our power. We got to stop begging for things. We have to tie our own shoes. And a resolution is what we send up to the mayor, the governor, anyone stating that there's a problem in Kalihi Valley that we would like to address. Instead of just every time we come on, we ask our councilman or the mayor or something to do things for us. Let's do something ourselves. That's why I want a resolution committee. So we will get the power that this board deserves by writing our own resolutions and sending them to, we don't have to, they don't distribute our resolution for us. The resolution committee will distribute resolutions to the mayor, to the city council, to the places we deem, the departments we deem is necessary. We will submit those resolutions ourselves. And all we have to do is give a copy to the NCO. They don't have to distribute it for us. Because the only resolution we wrote in 3 years is still not on our website for some reason. So, not to take up any more time, if you would just, that's why we put an agenda so they can see. I would like to write a resolution for safe parks. Why we not getting cameras in our parks? Why everybody else is getting cameras? We've been begging for painted crosswalks and street signs for our school. We need to write resolutions for them now. We've begged enough. That's why I want to start these. And this will put our city council members, our elected officials on notice. So, I'm finished. I yield back.
Mr. Yeah, Mr.
Hey, Mr. Franklin, I see the titles of your two resolutions, and I agree those are two topics that is worthwhile pursuing.
Okay, then I will write a resolution for them.
I'm just one voice.
I will present it to the board over the holidays so you can review it with the chair. And then if we have anything that we need to change, we can bring that up and we can vote for it in our February meeting. Because like I said, it's been 3 years, so 2 months isn't gonna make a difference. Sooner or later, we have to get things done and stop begging for things. And the way to do it is write resolutions and put our elected officials on notice. Because if we don't get what we want, then they're the ones gotta run like we do next time they run. And we'll have these resolutions to prove that we did not in Kalihi Valley get any service that we needed. I yield back.
So Spencer, is it okay if Mr. Franklin sends the draft and then we can just reply back with any suggestions that?
Yeah, I would say, Mr. Franklin, you could send the draft. I would just say don't even respond like with comments. Just make the comments and bring it to the meeting. If you do respond with comments, just send it directly to Mr. Franklin because you can't talk about board business with more than 2 people outside, and you shouldn't talk about which way you want to vote, sunshine law stuff. But you can definitely, Mr. Franklin, send it out and include me too, and then I'll put it on the Google Drive so everyone can see it, and that way they can bring the comments to the meeting and be ready to edit or adopt it without having to go through it.
And we, the board members, can reply to you back directly. Hopefully not.
Well, yeah, I just don't, and Spencer 100% correct, because without being at a meeting, we can't discuss any. I could just send it out and people can mark it up, and then when we get to our January meeting, we can decide what we want, re-edit it, and vote on it. Like I said, it's been 3 years, so there's no hurry whether we get it done in January or February. But we need a resolution committee that writes resolutions constantly. And if you look at the other 34 boards, they have tons of resolutions that they have written. We have written 1. So let's stop that. Let's gain our power back. Let's get things done for Kalihi Valley.
Spencer, as far as I have one question about the discussion on the resolutions, for example. It has to be completely just in a record meeting, or it can be done separately.
What do you mean?
So meaning any kind of discussion based on any type of resolution. So if we were to make one resolution and we got to discuss upon it, and we want to do it like in person.
Yeah.
Do we have to? Can we have a separate? Can we have a separate time to meet instead of wasting our time on a regular meeting?
It would have to be, you could do, like, if you had a resolution committee, that would be a good time to work on a resolution. You would just need to not have more than 4 members.
Right, but what I mean is, like, can we separate the meeting instead of wasting our time on our official board meeting? It has to be on the official board meeting.
Yeah, it has to be done at the, because you can't even adopt a resolution at a committee meeting. You have to bring it to adopt it here. So yeah, there's no way around it. It's just
the forming of the resolution can be in the resolution committee.
Done outside, or it can be done privately too.
Or without one agenda and announcing.
Yeah,
but all our other committees, we need to do that, right?
Well, you can write a resolution outside of a meeting without anything.
Okay.
You could just be at home.
With more than 1 person, 2 people, 3 people.
Well, if we have a resolution committee, just like the transportation committee, we can have more people there because it's an official committee that we have put an agenda out for. Committee, we can do more.
Yeah, committee, you can't have more than quorum number, so you guys have 5 as quorum, so you can't have 5 people go to a committee meeting. Or at least, it's a public meeting, so anybody could go, but you technically can't be an active member. You gotta just observe and be quiet and not talk. It's a weird rule. I'm not, I've only studied it. I haven't been certified to be sunshine law lawyer, but that's the way our office understands it. Just like to encourage board members to bring their thoughts together and on a document, and then bring it to the meeting, and then that way you don't need to spend time at the meeting reading through and creating your ideas. You can kind of just present your thoughts. Yeah.
Final comment.
Yeah.
So for establishment of a resolution committee, we can't do that either.
We can't do any board business.
Not even approval.
Nope.
Do we have to do approval next meeting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, for 2 minutes.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the committee reports.
I don't question.
Yeah,
So how will we move forward on creating some resolutions that Mr. Franklin wanted to. We can still work on the resolutions.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think right now, Member Franklin will draft something up and might share it over the holidays, and then you guys can take a look at it and then kind of understand if you like it, if you want to make changes or whatever, then we'll bring that to January, and then we'll decide then.
Oh, Mr. Franklin has hands up. Yes.
I got one more question. We don't have quorum, so we can't do anything for the rest of the night. We can't approve minutes. We can't do anything. In fact, we might well just close the meeting because we don't have a quorum. We can't approve our minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I just had transportation committee, but we didn't. Transportation doesn't have a report. Is that correct, or is there someone representing the committee? No. Yeah, I can just fast forward all the way to chair's report. Just have a general happy.
We're out of quorum. We can go home.
Can I make my announcement before we go?
Oh yes, well I'll get to announcement. I just want to, I'll say my quick chair report real quickly. Yeah, so I'll just fast forward to, where is it? Oh yeah, my chair report. So I have no report, but please contact me if you have any questions, concerns, or feedback. Have a safe and happy holidays and New Year's. Final item on the agenda are announcements. So the next meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, January 8th, 2024 at 7 p.m. at Kapala Mahale room 227, hopefully, or this room 260.
Or 153 too, they might be done by.
Or 153. Okay.
So we can talk about it.
Neighborhood board meetings aired on Olelo channel 49 on the 4th Saturday of the month at 6 p.m. and the 1st and 3rd Sunday of the month at 9 a.m. Are there any more announcements, Mr. Yap?
Okay, this is an announcement for you guys that you guys are invited, right? You guys walking, right? And who's coming on?
For the parade. We're
running
along.
So the question is, you guys are coming on one of you are coming on Monday to represent me.
I actually wanted to ask because you have your meeting with ENB, Mr. Kumala, if you'd like to participate on the Monday. What time is it?
6 to 7.
Yes,
Monday, November 15 or 18, I forgot.
The 18th.
The 18th.
Yeah.
Monday, November 18th is a safety briefing for the parade.
Kalihi.
What time is it again?
6 to 7:30.
6 to 7:30
Yeah.
at
Kalihi.
Kalihi Union Church, right? So that's the meeting spot as
So
well for the
Mr.
parade. Mr. Kumar, are you able to meet?
Yeah, good.
I work that night. That's what I'm asking. And then you're busy as well.
The other thing was, this is the first time we ever had our queen on the parade. She's here. She's gonna be. She can introduce herself, but the other thing was that we're having the two council persons being Grand Marshal. So that's Tyler and Radiance could be Grand Marshals for the parade. And we're also going to be going around putting up flyers and stuff like that. That's why we got kids over there. So, but I'll let her introduce herself so she can tell you what she does.
The queen for Farrington or what kind of who?
Hi, my name is Nicole Inez. I'm a senior at Farrington. I'm really involved with the student government, but I'm also on the executive board for the Hawaii State Student Council, so pretty active. But yeah, I'm homecoming queen, so I'm going to be in the parade, but I also wanted to help Mr. Yap and Lisa, who's also on the call, with executing the KBA. So I've been helping with the logistics, the contacting others, creating bios. So actually, if you've been receiving emails, it's probably for me. But yeah.
Wow. First time, so.
Right.
Well done. There's a lot of governors in the room.
That's right. You got that right.
Okay, if there are no more announcements, then the meeting is adjourned.